didn't have to plan that. It was just, hey, I'm going to be in the city. I'm going to come hang. But now that I live over almost an hour away from
PS Vita exclusive for what is considered the best game in the franchise by many.
I did that to a raspberry. It was a raspberry rehab, and I poured vodka into it, and it tasted creamy. You know, like
I like Red Bull. I like the red one and the yellow one. Not so much the blue one.
I really like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was a really nice sound.
Thank you. Yeah, looking at my waveform, mine seems to go on for quite some time.
It's fine. We're in it now.
I think a
We're
multi-stage thing.
We're here. It's current year.
And our joint pain is moderate to severe.
Actually, yeah, like my jaw has been killing me.
Ooh, I get the where in your jaw? Like what?
Oh, my jaw just like unhinges sometimes on both sides, and then I can't shut it back for like 5 minutes, and I have to slam it on something, and it hurts really bad for like 6 days afterwards.
Not a mood. I won't lie to you. That is not even remotely a mood.
Yeah, sometimes I yawn and my jaw just gets stuck for like half an hour.
Yeah, I don't know if mine is an actual dislocation. I think it's a like huge muscle cramp. But yeah, I get the same thing or a similar thing.
Oh yeah, no, mine does that as well, but sometimes it just like genuinely gets stuck, and it's been getting like worse and worse over time. But then I went to a doctor one time, and they were like, "You have to get like surgery for that." And I'm like,
oh, "Fuck that,
millionaire."
Miss me with that.
So do we want to give context?
Jaw pain.
Sorry, Jackson.
No, that's all I got.
Okay, sorry. Do we want to give context to our cold one open?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. I guess the context is on me, isn't it?
How's that for context?
That was atrocious. So,
grow up.
As you may know, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/offtheair. And if you get to a certain tier, you can become a shout out to your patron where you make us say things. And one of our patrons, Hi, said, hey,
Hi.
I would really like you guys to review the new summer edition Red Bull because Hi really hated the coconut one. He hated coconut summer Red Bull. Because he was a big fan of the grapefruit one that came out like 3 or 4 years ago.
Which was fire. Fact.
So you guys don't, I don't say you don't know the full story, but you guys probably are aware that it came from my streaming days.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So years and years ago it's funny. Like when I first was like just streaming for like literally just like 2 of my friends because like Discord you couldn't like go live back then and like Skype was atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
So like I literally was like streaming me doing like dumb stuff on Dark Souls 2 trying to beat it as slow as possible for like 4 or 5 of my friends who were like on the Discord call. And my friend Danny, who has been on the podcast before, you guys know Danny, for us Gustavo. So Danny like messaged Hi and was like, yo, come watch my friend streaming because they knew each other from a stream, and I like showed up and like followed the stream and like watched it, and then like 8 months later I decided to actually stream, and then that's when I had started like playing Pokemon and stuff, and I like literally just like showed up and was like, oh, I thought this was like a dead stream, I'm still following this channel for some reason. And then literally just like I was like, all right, sick, you can be a mod, I guess, you're from the OG days. And then I streamed for like 2 years and he was there pretty much the entire time. It's pretty sick.
I love
Honestly,
that.
I respect Hi's commitment to being the shitpost mod because I don't think I have had a single stream in the last, I don't know, like 2 months that I've been like steadily streaming again that Hi hasn't popped in, spammed his favorite emote and said hi and talked for a hot minute before leaving. Like, I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Yeah, no, it's nice to have just somebody, even if they're not there consistently, it's somebody who can stop in and say hi. Pun
He's
intended.
a good shit mod.
Yeah, so this was back in like probably 2017. Yeah, I think it was summer of 2017, and like some kind of like kind of like the fall and spring of 2016 into the summer and late spring of 2017. Because in Texas, your spring functionally starts in like November. It's crazy. Anyway,
it's wild.
Yeah, just because weather be like that. So yeah, I was there for that summer of 2017, and on it, I streamed pretty much 3 or 4 days a week. And it was always like after work, and I would always make the joke that I was living exclusively off Red Bull and painkillers.
Big mood.
Which was about 20% of a joke. And because in reality, I would drink like 3 Red Bulls on stream every day.
Oof.
And be taking painkillers, but not like a ton, just because I had like frequent headaches. So it wasn't like I wasn't popping like perk 30s. Don't give me. It was more like
If
I
people
take
want to
probably-
take it that way, that's one thing.
Yeah, because that's cool. No, I'm just kidding. That's not cool to be addicted to painkillers. That's incredibly, disenfranchising, and we have an entire nation that's having an opioid crisis because of that kind of issue. But anyway, so I was drinking a lot of Red Bull, and I was drinking the grapefruit ones all the time, and I was like, these are good, and I was like, yeah, they are good. And then everybody that was like watching the stream would always drink grapefruit Red Bull.
Aww.
And then they put the coconut one out, and it sucked.
I don't remember. They actually, so the summer coconut, I don't know if you know, from last year actually turned into its own, like it is its own type now. It is just the coconut edition.
Why did they do that?
I liked it, as I recall. I'm not going to open it right now on stream, or on air, because I have already had half of a monster today, and this Red Bull is going to push me higher than I've ever been before. That's not true.
Can you take me higher?
So I'm not going to open it
Bit of cream.
tonight, but tomorrow or sometime later this week, I will open it and I will tune in next week, because I remember liking it personally, but I don't know if that's just my misremembering.
I like Red Bull. I like the red one and the yellow one. Not so much the blue one.
See, I'm not a fan of the yellow one.
I think it's pretty good. It's just like Full Throttle. If you remember drinking that,
I do.
when you were a youngin.
It's still around. I used to
Is
sell
it
it
really?
at I used to sell it at the convenience store I worked at.
Wow, I haven't seen one in eons. Do people buy them?
No, absolutely not.
I did not think so. Did you get shipments of them?
Yes. Well, okay, so when you're working, have you guys worked, either of you, at a convenience store or something similar?
Not
I
at
can
a
never
convenience
remember.
store. I mean, I've worked at mostly restaurants, and your shipments are always like
Massive.
food pertaining to the restaurant.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily massive, but yeah.
I mean, I've dealt with food shipments, but
So when working, at least the one I worked at, they didn't actually send, like, you wouldn't get like an entire case, for example, like of let's take Monster, right? You would sometimes get an entire case of Monster, but usually what you'd get, especially with the smaller brands, is you'd get like 5 of one thing, 3 of another, and 2 of like a third kind, and that would just be like to fill in the back of whatever you bought. Full Throttle definitely came into the store, but I never got like a ton of it.
Wait, so they are still producing it? Like it
Yes.
wasn't like you just had it and no one was moving. It wasn't moving.
Yes. 2 energy drinks that I wildly am upset about that we didn't like keep more of. Did you guys see the Monster Hydros?
I think I saw the cans and the can, or they were like weird bottles, right?
Yeah, they were like tall bottles. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the weird bottles, thought they were ugly, and never bought one.
didn't they used to actually be like a plastic can with a metal top that you could still pop? Was
no,
that or is that something totally different?
that might be
That's
the import.
Mountain Dew thing that they're doing now.
Oh yeah, that is the Mountain Dew. That's is that the Kickstart?
I think so.
I'm
Or
like,
like-
I drink so
No,
many.
it
energy
wasn't,
drinks.
it was a
They're all running
monster
together.
thing, but
Was it a
they
No,
were
it
red
wasn't
and
the
green.
Oh, red and green. I have no idea. You lost me. Monster Hydra was actually Monster Hydra I thought was really cool because they all had like ice related or cold related names. And originally when they first came out, they had a thing where when you squeeze the bottle, it would crackle almost like you were crushing ice, which I thought was very neat.
That's cool.
Yeah, super cool. They stopped doing that very quickly because I'm assuming expensive.
Oh yeah,
and they also probably made the bottles out of like glow stick.
Exactly.
Liner.
Exactly.
that would be very funny.
But Hydras are good. We stopped selling them at my store, but I was always a huge fan. The other one, it was the Red Bull I really liked, and I'm double checking the flavor. So give me 1 second to pull up the full list of
They
flavors.
have a prickly pear one.
No, it was the peach one. The peach one is really good. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Monster?
No,
The
Red
Monster
Bull.
Rehab? Oh.
Peach
Did
Red
they have
Bull.
a prickly pear Red Bull? I'm pretty sure they did have a prickly pear Red Bull.
They might have.
That
The
That
sounds
peach,
also
like a
may
Red
have been
Bull
a southern
flavor.
thing because I feel like that was when I was in Texas, and I feel like they're more likely to do a regional prickly pear than a national prickly pear.
I think that was
You don't get prickly pear flavored things around here.
I feel like that was also a summer edition, wasn't it?
It sounds like, I feel like I remember it being one. I'm looking it up.
I'm looking to see if there's someone
Yeah.
has a. There we go. Flavors current.
some of the Hydros did have a metal top.
Okay.
There
They're-
appears to be.
Yeah, okay, some of them did. They have switched over to the twist top in a larger size for the most part, but some of them did have it. I found this one picture that looks straight out of like 100% straight out of the 90s.
Mhm.
Running.
Interesting. So I was incorrect. Oh wow, yeah, I don't remember those at all.
Man,
Really?
Manic Melon. I've been there, buddy.
Mood. I was incorrect. The summer edition from last year, the 2019, was Coconut Tutti Frutti. So maybe that one was the one that people didn't like, and then the Coconut edition was fine.
That sounds terrible, yeah.
I mean, High
Based on
hated
name
all
alone.
of the coconut ones.
High is allowed to be wrong about things.
No, I think he's right though. I think coconut drinks are really hit or miss. Like
Coconut
really
rum
hit or
is the
miss.
best.
Coconut rum is one of the only valid coconut drinks, because I know as soon as I put a hard line down, you're gonna be like, well, no, maybe you forgot. You forgot about this beautiful thing, and then you tell me something that's like whatever.
So I was wrong. I was a fool. I was an utter idiot. It wasn't Red Bull that was prickly pear. It was Michelob Ultra that was lime cactus.
I'm sorry, it was what?
Lime cactus.
No, what was the brand?
Like prickly pear cactus. Michelob Ultra, like the beer.
I was gonna say it's a beer, not an energy drink.
And
I was like, I had no idea what that was. I'm sorry.
Did I put that on Jackson's Beer Corner? Because I feel like I should have. Because that
I don't think
slapped.
you did.
That went dummy hard. And I know this because I used to work at Big Restaurant, as I've probably said once or twice. And at Big Restaurant, I had a coworker. His name was Trey.
Okay.
Trey. He was one of those people, you ever have like one of those friends that makes the same joke every time they see you, and then they laugh at it every time? They're like, I got it again. I still got it.
I feel so
single time
attacked.
it's like, yeah, dude, that's so funny.
I've never felt so attacked in my entire life.
Trey was that kind of friend. Like every time, yeah, that's fine. I understand that. What's the joke Dan makes about you?
What joke don't I make about him? It's not.
know.
It's. I don't feel like it's a specific thing. It's just the same joke
I think
every
you just
time.
rag. I was gonna say, I think you just rag
same-
on me. I think that's
It's a
about
series of the same joke repeated. It's an endless loop, an Ouroboros of bad comedy.
And then you say stuff like that. That's the thing. You just over explain.
Over-explaining the joke
actually,
is funny
I
as
like
shit.
it because you said Ouroboros, so I immediately am like, that's a good sentence.
Yeah, Ouroboros is a good word. That's just
If I like hear someone say a word like Ouroboros, I'm like, this is gonna be sick. So if you're ever curious as to why I listen to a lot of the Mountain Goats, just found your reasoning. And be like, this is a song called Exogenic Chains, and I'm like, it's got to be a good song. It's got a word like exogenic in the title. I mean, come on.
It's pretty valid, honestly.
I'm a simple person.
We gotta talk a little bit about this summer edition Red Bull, though. The watermelon.
Yeah.
Because
Before it gets warm.
Don't like Red Bull, so I would never have bought this on my own.
I bought 2 of them because it's like 1 for $3 or 2 for $5, and I'm not an idiot. I know business.
Exactly.
Me
you
no
won't
math.
be tricked into spending slightly more money for all that you want.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
gonna buy more than you want for slightly more money.
Precisely. Grog understand 2 Red Bull cheaper than 1 and 1 Red Bull. Grog get that.
Exactly.
I gotta tell you, that's like been the biggest thing for Michelle and I lately, is trying to get out of the habit of, something is on a great sale, we should just pick it up. Because
I thought you guys were gonna say you were doing caveman voice and calling yourself Grog, and I would be like, hell yeah.
Yeah, man, that's our kink.
What an oddly specific thing, but hey, go off, I guess.
We got matching not tunics. What the hell are those things called? Not loincloths. I can't think of what they're called. All I can think is like,
buying?
What?
What are you buying? What are you describing right now?
It wasn't a tunic and it wasn't a loincloth. Those are 2 things that never would have come to mind for me as like
we were talking
matching
about
anything.
Matching.
Caveman. That's what the joke was. I was continuing the caveman joke. What is this stupid? It is, I guess, a tunic. It's the one that like only covers like your one shoulder and then like it comes across your chest. You know what I'm talking about?
A toga?
I guess it's like
You bought a toga?
it was a joke. It was all a joke, and now I've ruined everything. Let's move on. Red Bull, I'm not a fan of watermelon.
The good thing is I got the joke after like 4 seconds. I didn't get it initially, but when you see about matching loincloths, I was just kind of weirded out more than anything else.
That's fair.
But then I got it, and I just let Noah just keep having at you instead of being like, actually, it made sense, Noah. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let them have this interaction.
I feel so attacked and betrayed. Jackson, I thought we had something.
Why?
Fair.
Actually, you know what, Dan? I'll have your back a couple times because he has given me a great gift of XCOM 2.
I'm so glad you're enjoying it. It was actually...
I played about an hour, and I just am mad.
Why?
Because I love turn-based strategy games.
Mm-hmm.
I've in the past like 2 weeks put another like 30 hours into Fire Emblem 3 Houses, and now I'm playing XCOM, and like it's great because I'm like, this is fun. And when you win the coin flips, you're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when you lose 8 coin flips in a row, you're like, I just don't want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a problem with XCOM where I feel like the RNG just is both too forgiving and not forgiving enough in different measure. And I don't...
Yeah, because you can just get one shot by anything if it crits.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And I feel like there should be...
You can one shot
I think on both
if you
sides, there
crit.
should always be there should always be some kind of better defense against that. The like going down without like getting wounded or whatever mechanic is great for that. But even then, sometimes you can just die outright from that, and like you won't even get the chance to go rescue the person.
Yeah.
And that's some bullshit.
I think one thing that would make it a little bit more spiced, like, is if you could over level. I mean, I get it, like, it's kind of like you can over level to the point of having no fun. But if you're like struggling, like, man, I can't get past this mission or whatever, you can just be like, okay, I'll do like 4 easy missions, and then I will be able to get through this mission by brute force.
Well, you sort of...
Which, I don't know if you can. I've only played a little bit, so I've only gotten like units like upgraded like twice.
So you sort of can. The thing with the game is that, like all XCOM games, it eventually gets a time limit, like a broad strokes like mission time limit, essentially, where you can add to that, but you're kind of racing against the clock, because the kind of draw of XCOM, at least for me, is the feeling of you are outnumbered and outgunned. Good fucking luck, kiddo. The idea of like you're always working just with not quite enough resources and not quite enough time is great.
See, I think that's why I've seen XCOM, and this is the first time I've ever played an XCOM game, and it feels to me like it's like playing Warhammer 40k versus Warhammer Fantasy. In terms of like in comparison to Fire Emblem, which I know it's not exactly the same thing, but it's a similar idea in that, like, in Fire Emblem you're like, oh no, there's 40 of them and 6 of us, and you're like, good thing we're the heroes. And then you kind of like, even though people could die, you got like, you have way more like main character like leniency. Of course, you just crank the difficulty up when that happens, and it's no fun.
But still,
yeah, like you have a little bit more, like, you feel more like main charactery because you're also a unit. Like, your character is like the commander is a unit functionally, so you get like that feeling of like, I am in the fray. Whereas the next time you're like, look at my boys go.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh no, my boy's leg is gone.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. It's definitely a lot easier, at least from me playing it. It's a lot easier to like completely bumblefuck an XCOM game than it sounds like it is for Fire Emblem. But I'm really glad you're enjoying it. I'm super happy. It was in the I have the Humble Monthly and have for like 2 years now, and it just happened to show up, and I'm like, hey, wait a second, Jackson was talking about this, so I'm glad I was able to toss it your way.
Yeah, I got War of the Chosen.
Good. Did you get Shen's gift?
That was actually included in the Humble.
Oh, sweet.
Apparently, I didn't see it there, but then like I went to buy it, and it was like, you already have this. And I was like, all right, I'm telling you now.
Take the win, I guess.
Also, I will say, downloaded XCOM 2, 29 gigs. I'm like, all right, reasonable. It's a new game. It's a big game. I bought the War of the Chosen DLC. I looked back at my download. It went from like 20% to 1%. And I was like, that's weird. 70 gigs.
Jesus Christ. I didn't know War of the... Well, does War of the Chosen
adds another like 50 gigs onto the game size.
Jesus Christ.
It's like 46 extra gigs.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's weird. The game tripled in size.
That's how you know it's a good expansion. Can we talk about expansions versus like DLC?
No, because we do need to review this Red Bull real quick first.
Watermelon.
I think it's the Red Bull review has been a train ride. It's been an adventure. I didn't even get to talk to my friend Trey and the Lime Cactus beer. You know, I feel like that's the best form of review.
Literally all I want to say about, because I haven't said anything about it yet, outside of the fact that I don't like
either.
Red Bull.
I've just said that in 2017 I drank a different one.
I think this is the best Red Bull I have had ever because, well, no, I like the blueberry Red Bull. But I think Red Bull tastes like piss, and I hate it. It's actually
blueberry acai.
And this one is actually, because it's like a nice sour watermelon, I actually do like it a lot.
This one, I got 2, like I said, because Grog's lizard brain functions only in need buy more Red Bull.
Exactly.
And I took a sip of the first one I bought, and I was like, this just tastes like a cocktail that you would get at like a place where they'd serve it in a fishbowl.
Oh, it does. It does taste like that.
And then I was just like, okay, well, let's just put some vodka in it. And I was like, now it just tastes like cough medicine. And it was a really weird, like, if you don't put anything in it, it tastes like it wants to be some kind of specialty margarita. And if you put alcohol in it, it immediately becomes like paint thinner status. It's so weird.
I feel like, because Hy was saying he thinks that it would be great mixed with some lemonade and vodka. So that lemonade might be what you need to cut it from paint thinner status back to drink.
I also don't know how much I put in. I wasn't watching, and I just poured it in the can.
That's fair enough.
But that's nature's cup, you know?
Exactly.
Thank you, Dan.
It's nature's cup.
I should tell the nature's cup story at some point, too. It's another banger.
Personally, am not a fan of watermelon, like as a flavor. I like watermelon, like the actual fruit.
Oh, yeah. What about the word when you say it like watermelon?
Watermelon. Oh, watermelon is a good word.
It's pretty fun. No relation to Post Malone.
I was going to say, is that...
Earth Malone, Water Malone, Fire Malone, Air Malone, the Malone Benders.
I thought it was Earth, Wind, and Fire Malone.
Yeah, and then you
One of
got
the greatest bands.
Watermelon is their cousin who never made it to the band.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
But yeah, not a fan of watermelon flavor generally. It's fine. It's a little more like you said, it's a little more sour than I expected. I didn't expect to have a little bit of tartness to it, but that helps.
Because for something that smells like a watermelon Jolly Rancher, it thankfully does not taste like that.
Yeah, same. Yeah, watermelon Jolly Ranchers are the worst Jolly Ranchers, and I love me some Jolly Ranchers. I see what you mean about. I agree. I don't think with just vodka it would be good, but I think with lemonade and vodka you could have something there. The peach one, just straight with peach with vodka, is a 10 out of 10 drink though. As I've said before, huge fan.
You guys ever just like take something you would want to mix with? Let's say you want to make a Red Bull and vodka. You ever just like pour the vodka in the can?
Never.
I have. I did that to a raspberry. It was a raspberry rehab, and I poured vodka into it, and it tasted creamy. You know, like, yeah. Do you remember?
That doesn't make sense.
Do you remember
but I respect what you did.
Rockstar flavors that were like, you know, creamsicle and strawberries and cream. How it was like it was not creamy, but it tasted creamy. That happened to my Monster, and I hated it.
Yeah,
that was an awful night for me. Absolutely awful. Not a good time.
Sick. Yeah, no, I hate that.
I'm a big proprietor of just pouring liquor into a can of something. So I did this one day. I was just like, I was drinking. I had like a case of Coke Zero for some reason. I think I got it from work because it was after Austin had like, the big water problem where like you couldn't drink water in the city for like a week, and it was terrible. And it was no part of it. It wasn't really anyone's fault. It was just like it rained too much and a whole bunch of silt got into the water system because everything overflowed and then it's like mixed. You can't be drinking silt water because it's no good for you. So you couldn't, it was like a boil water order, and so we had to buy like a whole bunch of cases of drinks. So like at work, if someone wanted Coke, you had to give them a can of Coke. Yeah. Because you couldn't, because the fountain water, yeah, you get the whole deal. Oh, so I had like a case of Coke Zero because the water order was over, and my boss was like, all right, I'm gonna just take whatever. I was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just like drink it with some spice rum that I got, you know, because gets rid of the gross diety Coke flavor. Yeah. And so I was doing that, and I was like, why am I bothering pouring this into a glass when I might as well just pour the rum in there. So I did, and I was like, you know what, this is the same thing. And then I started doing it, and one day I did it with my friends, and I was fairly inebriated, and they were like, why aren't you just putting it in a cup? And I was like, I have Nature's Cup right here.
I hate it so much.
We just started calling cans Nature's Cup.
I love it. I love it a lot.
It's Nature's Cup.
Shoot, dude, it sure is. Especially
if you're gonna like pour like a can of Coke with ice into a plastic cup and then something else into it. No need to add extra waste to it. Just cut out the middleman.
I respect it.
Thank you.
Nature's
Cup.
Fantastic.
So, audience, Nature's Cup. Never give up on yourself. Watermelon Red Bull is pretty good. I don't like it nearly as much as the grapefruit one from years ago. That still, to me, is a peak Red Bull. I think that also it does have like a bit of a nostalgic memory to me. But like also so does all of like Waco when I think back on it. Like the entire city just has like this nostalgic wash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. One of those things where things that may not have been what do you call, as great while you were there kind of things. It's like, well, you know what? No, this is actually pretty great.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it's easier to live somewhere when you're not there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I get that.
That's something I've held for a while because like it feels like that's just the case. Like because you have a bookend to the story of that region. You know, like when I first moved away from Pennsylvania, it was like that was, you know, the end of that sort of chapter, and then so you can read the whole thing through. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're living somewhere, you can't read the whole way through. You got to stop where you're at. And of course, you can look ahead and make a great chapter. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's how you should do things. But there still comes a time when you move or do whatever, and things change. You get a new friend group, all sorts of stuff happens. You look back, and you can see there's a bookend somewhere in there. And I feel like once that bookend is placed, it becomes a whole memory, and therefore becomes just a little bit sweeter. In this essay, I will.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's a stance I've had for quite some time.
I can get behind that stance. It makes sense to me,
take it.
And I like it. I like it a lot.
It's nice to romanticize things that you didn't have the chance to when you were doing them. Mm-hmm. And it's good that you don't romanticize things when you're doing them, because then you're doing them for not necessarily the wrong reasons, but you're not getting as much out of it as you could. And then when you romanticize it in the future, it won't feel as good because it won't be the first time you're doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever had like moments where you realize that something is going to become like a romanticized memory? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like that's always been surreal to me. Like a moment, I don't know when the last time it happened was, but the one I remember most clearly was like at like a bonfire with a bunch of friends or whatever. And like I just remember having this very clear moment of like, this is important. This is going to continue to be important, kind of thing.
I love those like memories. Like when you're living them, you know how important they are, or just not how important they are, but how impactful they can be.
Yeah.
Like when I was first driving to move back up here to Pennsylvania, I came up with my friend Sarah. I mean, I think I told like the story. Basically, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm moving. I got to drive like 22 hours. She's like, you know, can I come with you? And I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. So we just like road tripped. It was cool.
That is fun.
But there was a time we were driving through Kentucky. I had fallen asleep, not behind the wheel, in the passenger seat, and the sun was just coming up, and like Sarah woke me up, and she was like, hey, look, it's a cool sunrise. And we just watched the sunrise for a little while in silence as we drove.
I love that.
It was a good memory.
I really do love that.
Yeah, it's super cute. I have a whole series of nice little memories. Some happy, some sad, some like happy then, sad now.
Yeah.
And some just like almost neutral, just like cool things. Like I remember my friend Kenny's wedding. He was my manager at work, and then we just became good friends. And then I moved to Austin, and he was getting married to his longtime girlfriend. He was like, hey, you should be a groomsman at my wedding. And I was like, hey, that sounds cool. And so I was, and it was great. And after the wedding, because they weren't leaving for their honeymoon for like another like day and a half because they had to like fly out, but sometimes there's a slight delay.
Yeah.
So he invited me back to their house and like with some other people, and we just like kind of sat around and just chatted and had some drinks, and then we ended up setting off paper lanterns.
Aw.
Like you see like the all the classic movies and stuff. Actually, I can't really think of that many places you see them, but like in
Rapunzel,
in fiction,
Tangled.
Rapunzel,
Tangled. Yeah.
I was gonna say, you said it, and it didn't sound right, but I wasn't sure what to say.
That's fine. Just say nothing. If you can't say something right, don't say anything at all.
I was gonna say, I don't know enough about Tangled or Rapunzel to tell you whether or not you're right, but I'll take your word for it.
Fair.
Yeah, but we just set off paper lanterns.
Nice.
It was really cool. It was fun. It was a pretty clear night, and we just it's basically just like a piece of paper mache and like some hemp rope. I don't know if they ordered them or if they just made them, because they weren't like super fancy. They were just paper mache and hemp, and then like a little basically piece of cardboard that you light on fire. Yeah, it was fun. Gonna set them off in the middle of nowhere. Obviously, it was made a really cool memory. It was a cool time. I don't know how safe or environmentally friendly they are. Although, I mean, it's
I feel
just
like that is
paper.
the issue, right? Like most of the time that they are nice and like paper, but other ones have like metal frames, and those don't just melt away.
Yeah, I feel like you can probably get them pretty biodegradable, and the ones we used were. But I feel like there definitely are ones that are just like, well, I can't imagine they have metal frames because they wouldn't float that way.
Thin metal. Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, don't use those ones then. And also don't use them in a place where it's dry. Use it in a place where it's, rained recently and not in an area that is easily lightable, like in a big like wheat field or something like that. Be smart about it. Do it near a lake. Also make sure whatever your area you're in allows you to do such things, because I know a lot of places have like ordinances against anything like that. But it was fun. It still was a good memory. That's my point. That's my argument. I had fun at my friend's wedding, and afterwards we sent off paper lanterns to celebrate.
I've only ever done paper lanterns once, and we did it on a beach because I think I mentioned the shitty cottages my family goes to every year.
It's true. I feel like we actually talked about it on the podcast one time.
I think we did. If not, my family for the last, like, my dad's side of the family for the last, like, 40-something years, maybe 50 at this point, have been going to these cottages as, like, a big tradition. And one of the family friends that always comes out as well, their kid got married. So they had a nice cottage wedding reception, or wedding ceremony for it, where they basically had one guy stand in, like, some water and be like, I'm a captain, and I can now marry you because I'm in the water.
That
At least
sounds
that's how
right.
I remember it happening. This might be my childhood memory messing it up, but that's
that
what I
sounds
remember.
correct. I feel like captains can marry people as long as they're in the water.
Exactly. So he conducted their cottage wedding, and then we set off paper lanterns, and they had little wire frames, but they
Slap
also
them in a
all went out
bathtub and-
over the lake. So they definitely littered in the lake. But it was really cool seeing, like, we had like 60 paper lanterns go off. It was really
that's
neat.
super cool. We only had like 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if paper lanterns are one of those things that have like a dark side. Like they have like a really like, terrible
Where
repercussion.
like actually paper lanterns kill more people every year than car crashes.
There is no way that's the case.
But it could be.
But I don't know enough about paper lanterns, as I just said, to tell you you're wrong. But I'm pretty sure you're wrong.
Prove it.
They start throwing out really crazy statistics.
I can throw out as many statistics as you need me to.
Throw out 4 statistics.
Well, yearly, more people die from paper lanterns than car wrecks. Cows kill fewer people than coconuts every year. Sharks kill fewer people than coconuts than cows, so also fewer than coconuts. And speeding is actually safer than not speeding. There's all my statistics. I need not cite my sources.
Sounds good, man. So when you say the cows, does that include bulls?
I don't know. That's a statistic I actually remember hearing, is that cows kill more people every year than sharks. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say the statistics definitely included bulls.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. You seem to know a lot. You just did give me 4 statistics.
I did. I somehow managed to swing that one, and I'm pretty proud of myself.
No.
Dan, you have any statistics you'd like
made
to
up by the
present?
fake news media.
All right. Anyway.
Sure.
Dan, you were going to say something
Don't
about
like that,
DLC before I pulled us hard back into Red Bull territory.
I'll be honest, do not fully remember what I was going to talk about. So that's going on.
War of the Chosen is twice the size of XCOM 2.
I literally opened it up by saying, how do you guys feel about DLC?
Oh, because I mentioned expansions. That's what it was. Because the XCOM thing is like more of an expansion than a DLC. And I was going to mention that like I feel like we get a lot more DLCs and not enough expansions these days. That was it.
I feel like it depends. Sometimes I think DLC be good. Sometimes it is like overpriced and you don't get anything. And then sometimes they do the Atlas maneuver, which is you re-release the game with a little bit of changes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you liked Persona 5, right? Would you like to buy DLC for it? Too bad. Here's Persona 5 The Royal. It's the same price as the base game. That's right, $60. What did we add? A new character. You're like, wait, what? They're like, yeah, we did it. Gameplay is slightly more smooth.
Yeah.
There's like 2 new confidants and a new playable character. Yeah.
Dang, dude, sign me up.
That'll be $60.
I'll pay $80.
That will be
Which is like, it's one of those things where if you
$7,000.
don't have the base game and have never played it, you're like, wow, I might as well get the remastered functionally version. But then if you do have the base game and have already played like 100 hours, you're not going to be like, well, guess I'll just lose all my data and start all over again and make a new file so I can play as one new character.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck
And
that
sometimes
noise.
they do what they did with Persona 4 Golden, which is just like, hey, this is way better than the original. It's on PS Vita. Exclusively.
Yikes.
I'm not kidding. That is literally what they did. PS Vita exclusive. For what is considered the best game in the franchise by many. Isn't that ridiculous?
That is very funny.
PS Vita. Who has
that's
PS
that's
Vita?
nuts.
I
I'll tell
actually
you who has a
literally
PS Vita.
have
Persona fans who wanted to pay P4R or P4G. Like that's it. Nobody else. But it's also like I've heard it's worth it.
That's the worst part is when a DLC is actually like they
And
do a
that's,
shitty
like-
business practice and it turns out that it actually
two
like
of my friends, my friend Josh, my friend Zach, both
like it's
of them
worth it to
were
get
like,
the better version
I
of
bought
it.
a PS Vita exclusively to play Persona 4 Golden, and I don't regret it.
Oh my gosh.
I actually don't remember
hate
if Zach
it.
said he regretted it or not, so I don't want to quote him on that. But I know Josh was like, it was worth it, and I'm like, dude, that's wild. And that's just 2 people that I know. Like that's not like people who are big fans of the series or like creators. Some of them are fans. Like Zach and Josh are both big fans, but like that's 2 of my friends who bought an entire console for one game.
I
It's
mean,
ridiculous.
in their defense, that's kind of what happened with me and
I guess you
Spider-Man.
bought a
For Spider-Man?
PS4 for Spider-Man, didn't you?
Pretty
it's fun.
much. Not like literally just, but pretty much just.
I bought a PS4 for Persona 5.
That's fair.
Again, that's another one that was pretty much because I also bought it for Spider-Man and I also bought it for like Monster Hunter. So like kind of and I got it on sale, but still like that like the first game I actually bought for it was like Persona 5. I also got Project Zero Dawn or Horizon Zero Dawn, which is really fun.
Yeah, I did get other games for the PS4. I just really, really just wanted it for like the big thing that I wanted it for was for Spider-Man.
It's fun.
It's real good.
It's real fun.
It's real good. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I'm trying to remember the last game I got that had an actual like expansion DLC rather than just like either free updates slowly adding content over time or like a bunch of small DLCs that eventually shaped it to be one big thing.
I think the most recent expansion I played was probably like an hour ago. I played XCOM 2 War of the Chosen.
That's true.
fair
That
enough.
is, I mean, that would count.
Yeah, I can't really think of any others. I don't like season passes though, or expansion passes.
Interesting.
Because I don't want to pay you for things I don't know that I want. Because like I bought the Breath of the Wild expansion pass and the Fire Emblem Three Houses expansion pass, and that's mostly because Nintendo has the cool thing where you can't get any of the content without buying the expansion pass for those games. You can't just be like, oh, I only want to buy the Ash and Wolves side story for Fire Emblem Three Houses. You have to just buy the whole thing. You can't just be like, I'll buy this one part of it. I don't want the other 3. And it's because like they came out with like, so it was 4 parts. It was like parts 1, 2, and 3 were just cosmetic and very minor, and part 4 was like an actual DLC, and it was just one price, which like is fine, but don't market it as some crazy season pass when in reality all you're giving me is one DLC and a couple outfits I can put my characters into that don't even look better than their default outfits.
I like season passes. I like don't like season passes. I do like ultimate editions.
That's
like
fair.
I don't like the you pay for the season pass at the beginning, you get all the DLC in the future. I do like once they're like close to or finished with the game being like, yes, pay this extra and get just all of the DLC and not have to worry about what you're missing out on or not missing out on. Personally.
Okay. See, I am a fan of, for franchises I am a huge fan of season passes. There are certain games that I will like, if I like the franchise and I trust the developers, I will do like the not like day one purchase, but when I buy the game, I will also get like the season pass bundle, because sometimes they actually have like, they have a pretty good deal with it, but there are not a lot of games that I will trust to do a season pass thing, but I do prefer season pass versus like having to buy all of the DLC separate, because usually it's an infinitely better deal,
Paradox.
like a $30.
Paradox is really bad about their DLC. Like Paradox is like the kings of what if we nickel and dime you for every DLC we put out. They also put out one a week, and some of them are insane.
And they also put out one a week.
Well, that's the thing, is that some of their games
EU4 ships have some gold trim if you buy it now.
I'm gonna pull up EU4. I'm gonna pull up their store page and see how much it costs to get every DLC.
Come on, guys.
I'm doing it. Europa Universalis.
Don't.
The Empire bundle, which I'm assuming is just all. I don't even think that is all of them. Yeah, because there are 32 DLC. Let's browse.
But I also really don't like when publishers put out DLC that is so transformative that it becomes mandatory. Like,
agreed.
For single player games, I think it's fine. For multiplayer games, it is a pain in the ass, because if you want to do anything and continue playing online, you have to buy the DLC.
Because single player games, you can still enjoy your life without this game changing DLC. You just don't know what you're missing out on. That's okay.
Yeah,
but it's like
I think the biggest offenders are the biggest offender to me personally was Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator 2, which instead of being, a sequel, as the name might suggest, was actually a $30 DLC for Guilty Gear.
I see. It got the Saints Row treatment.
And if you didn't buy the DLC, you couldn't play online with a bunch of people, and it didn't update, like actually patch you to like the modern patches, and it didn't like balance the characters you had downloaded and played. Yeah. You had to instead buy the DLC to get the updates and the balance and new characters and to play online. And it was just like a whole nightmare. Because like you couldn't just be like, okay, I still have the game that I bought. Can I play that? They're like, no. I mean, you could, but it was like you could go online and see 3 people. Yeah, you could see like maybe 3 people online because everyone bought the DLC, and then it sucked. And so basically, it ended up being you had to buy the game and then buy another like $30 DLC.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And then Civilization does it really bad too.
Yeah, Civ does really bad.
Oh my gosh,
like playing
Civ is so
Civ
bad
5,
about it.
they're like, you can play Civ 5, and then everyone's like, you don't actually have it without the $80 in expansions that are pretty much mandatory, and you can't really play online without them because everyone has them, and they're so good that no one's going to not use them.
Oh, I was like talking with someone just the other day. In my stream, and he mentioned having, what was it? Civ 3, I mentioned, because that's, not Civ 3. Civ 5. Civ 5. And I mentioned that I have Civ 5, let me check real quick. Yeah, I have
Gods
Civ 5
Brave New World
Gold Edition, I believe.
Ooh, it's a billionaire.
But I got it I got it off a humble deal.
Okay.
But like I got the Gold Edition. And I'm like, yeah, so I think I have all the DLC. And the guy in stream, he was just like, no, not at all. Actually, you are missing so much DLC for that game, because they there's so much that's just not included in the gold bundle.
In the like when you buy the deluxe edition, and you're like, wow, this should come with like some DLC or something. It's like doesn't contain any of the 10 DLCs, but does contain the soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack and a special skin for buying it. I hate that shit.
I despise games that make the deluxe edition the soundtrack.
Yeah, there are 15 DLC for Civ 5. Most of them are $5. A couple are like $7.50. And then there's 2 of them are $30 expansions for Civ 5.
Let's see. I have Brave New World, Gods and Kings, Continents, and Nations. So I actually have the 2 most expensive ones.
I have almost all of the the nations because I got them like a bundle. I got like the deluxe edition when it was on sale. Now, of course, the deluxe edition includes all of like the $3 DLCs.
Yeah.
But doesn't include Brave New World or Gods and Kings,
I think,
or the Continents pack or the Scrambled Nations pack.
I think.
And those are all that I have. So I don't actually know what edition I have because this doesn't seem like gold edition stuff.
I think Paradox is both the best and worst with this because I think while Paradox does have, and let me be clear, I was thinking EU, but the actual one that they're terrible with is CK2. CK2 has $300 worth of DLC.
Hearts.
Yeah, ridiculous.
What?
But Hearts of Iron probably is just as bad.
How about Hearts of Iron? How? Okay, I wasn't sure how DLC heavy that. I don't own it, so I'm not really sure.
I don't know. I might own it, but I don't know what their DLC is. But what they do, and I really appreciate
the fact that there is a guide to what DLC you need for this game is absurd.
Hearts of Iron only has 10
They
DLC.
have
That's not so
a
bad.
ranked list of what is worth paying for.
Still.
Okay, that's not. Well, most of them are $20. Well, 3 of them are $20. One's 15. And then like 2 are 10, and then 2 are like 6.
Oh, I was gonna say, but Paradox, the thing I think it does well, kind of as a counterpoint to that,
$106.
is it makes it so that if one player in your game owns the DLC, everyone can play with it.
That's nice.
Like if you're playing, that's to me is like Stellaris. I have every Stellaris DLC because I really enjoy the game, and I started buying them, and then I didn't stop because I hate myself.
Is Stellaris is that an MMO?
It's a 4X. No, it's a 4X strategy game. That game has 15 DLC. I own all of them. The other thing it does, it's kind of not. I own all except for the Galaxy Edition upgrade pack because that just adds soundtrack and ebook and portraits. But I think that the other thing it does really well is that it actually pushes updates alongside major DLC. So, like for example, it just put out the Federations. I think is the new one. Yeah, it just put out the Federations update. And while yes, you really should get the Federations update if you want like all the new Federation types and stuff like that, it also does update the base game with some of the features. It just, if you want the extra add-on stuff, you have to get the DLC. And I think that's a really good way to do it, and a way to make it so that people can actually still play and enjoy your game and feel like they're getting constant like updates to the game without it being like a problem. But it's I like Stellaris. I think is their best DLC like method, whereas then you have something like CK2, which is, I would argue, their worst DLC method.
Mm-hmm. I do like the fact that if someone has it, everyone can use it.
That's super nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is really cool. Because I really hate when it's like, oh, your friends all have this DLC, but you don't.
Yeah.
Now you've got to make your friends have a bad experience because they can't use the DLC that makes the game way better.
It really is kind of one of those things where if you aren't, I feel like if you have a multiplayer game and that isn't the way you handle it, you're just making the game less fun for everyone involved. Like even something like Killing Floor has that, where like if you have a bunch of the the DLC weapons and stuff, or the crossover weapons, everyone in your party has that. You have a little thing that pops up like shared content. These people are sharing this. This person is sharing this. Good luck, have fun. But yeah, it literally is.
And that just makes a lot of sense, honestly, too, because it's almost like free advertising. Because, sure, they may be only playing with this one friend who has all the DLC and cheesing the system, but honestly, a lot of the times, if you're like online and like one of your friends has something and you're playing like a week later without it because you're playing with different friends, you're like, man, that was really, really fun.
Yeah.
It's only $10. I should buy it and all my friends can have it too. And it's just like, it works that way. But I feel like instead, the option of just being like, sorry, you can't have it unless you give me $30.
Yeah. And it's
otherwise
very weird.
You'll never be able to try it.
Demos, I feel like, are actually, that's true. I did see a couple of games lately. I've seen more demos, like in the last like 2 or 3 weeks, month or two. I've seen more demos of games.
I've never really played a demo, honestly.
Really?
I've seen games with demos, but I just have never been like, I don't know if I want this or not. It's always like an immediate, like I know whether or not it's worth it, and so
there's
I
always
usually would just choose to not download
the high seas method of demos if you really wanted to play it without before you bought it.
But that's like functionally illegal.
It is. No, here's my thing.
I think it's wholly illegal, but if you buy it and it's not, I don't actually know how that works.
It's definitely not something you're supposed to do, and I would never tell somebody to go do that. That said, hypothetically, I would understand why somebody would want to try that with something they haven't played yet, or they don't know if they will like, as long as they're planning on buying it later or do buy it later. Like, I went through a period of my life where I just straight up did not have money. Like, I just didn't. For like a solid 4 years, I had no money to spend on games.
Yeah.
And so being able to play these newer games that came out, I'm slowly going through and I'm rebuying them as they come up now because I played them and I liked it enough to play through the game. but I just didn't have the money at the time. It's potential to be.
But that's a really dangerous.
Yeah,
like
it's potential to be super shitty.
Well, not dangerous, but it's just like pretty it's pretty shitty. Because a lot of people
Steam
don't
actually
have
does
the
a good job
mentality
with like the family sharing too for that.
Not
Not that I would ever use
hey,
that
look,
with
free
somebody
thing.
who I didn't live with or anything like that. But the family sharing system for Steam, being able to play your friends' games,
family sharing is cool.
As they play them essentially, is really really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is sick.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to, as I've probably said it once or twice, live in a house with like 8 guys.
The one Steam account to rule them
so
all.
it was like mega Steam account. Yeah, pretty much, and like everyone just had like a ton of games. Although a lot of people didn't actually play that much on Steam, so it wasn't that impressive.
It was cool, but not that cool.
Yeah, and we also had like a Steam Link in the living room.
Oh, how was the Steam Link? What did you think? How did that?
I got it from a pawn shop for like $10, so it was worth it.
Find one somewhere.
But if I were to buy it for like $50, not worth it. It was cool, but it also was basically just a long HDMI cable.
Yeah, wireless HDMI.
It was a wireless HDMI. Yeah, so like there was a way more input lag than I would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you had it like set up with like Ethernet and everything, like it was way more input laggy than I would have preferred, and like it also required your computer to be running the game.
Mm-hmm.
So like you basically just had to like, I mean, which makes sense that your computer is running it, but like it also like was literally just reflecting your monitor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like I would just open the game on my computer and then walk out into the room and play the game.
Depending on what, I actually have my TV in my living room set up to like the Steam Link app, because if you are willing to run non-developer approved software or whatever, you can just get the Google Play Store essentially on a smart TV or on my smart TV. And so I was able to just download the Steam Link like app. And I do that. I've done that before. I do that for like Jackbox it's really good for, or stuff like that, where like the input lag doesn't matter so much as just making sure everyone can see the screen. You can also, the way I have it set up, I can actually do it where I can stream like videos and stuff from it too, which is nice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think when we came to visit you, you had Jackbox running that way, right?
Yeah, I did have Jackbox running that way. That's how I did it. It had some issues. It would cut out every now and again, and if I wasn't careful, it would let if my computer fell asleep or something in the background, then it would ruin everything. But I'm a huge fan of the Steam, like the Steam in-home streaming or whatever. I just wish it was a little bit better created. They have the
but also like I don't have any real need for it. Like I am functionally just like shut in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And with the semester over, I am technically a NEET.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah. Now, granted, that's only for the time being. I technically am in education because I am like enrolled for the next semester. Like my schedule's already set. But pedantic. We got it. We got the.
I'm not sure if I should congratulate you or not.
You should.
Congratulations, buddy.
I worked hard.
I'm proud of you.
I worked hard to do nothing.
How many years do you have left?
I have college. All of them. Like a million.
I didn't. That's right. You did just start. I'm so sorry. For some reason, I thought you started way earlier.
No, it's fine. No, it's so 3.
We'll do something for the podcast when you graduate.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried.
No, we won't. Well,
roll tide. Found out one of my friends might be going to grad school in at Alabama, like
Wild.
Alabama. So that'll be really exciting.
Yeah, you can say roll tide to them all the time.
I would not. He's either that or he's going to go to Penn State, which way lamer because no roll tide, but also cooler because like he's from North Carolina, so he would
also roll tide.
Actually be moving close.
Yeah.
But roll tide,
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard life we live.
It's a tough call, Roll tide, or be able to physically visit.
I see no win here. That just seems like more loss.
It's true. So this brings up a fun point. Like, so my friend is like, hey, I'm gonna be moving, like, potentially to Penn State, which is like 3 hours away or so, probably a little bit less than 3. Like, because from here to State College, it seems like about 3, right, Noah? Does that sound right to you?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll come visit. And all my other friends were like, yeah, dude, we'll totally come visit. It'll be sick. But I'm like, how likely are you to actually visit a friend who is over an hour away?
Not often. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, look at us. We are about 50 minutes away from each other, and we almost never make that time.
Granted, we haven't been able to for like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, we actually did meet up like twice.
Oh, that's true.
So that's not too bad. And we met in the middle like several times. I feel like we've probably seen one another since I moved up here.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like a dozen times.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I've only been up here not even a year, so it's once a month.
I think there's a sweet spot of visiting friends where if you're within a certain time frame, you can just go and meet for like lunch or whatever. The problem is once you get, honestly, for me, it's like an hour. It's like the limit distance. It becomes like this is an event that we have to just go plan like at least a couple of days in advance, and it's like an actual like we're gonna hang out for a couple of hours kind of thing. Whereas if like when I was living in the city, right, Dave could come by like whenever, and he would sometimes just come into the city and we'd hang out for a couple hours and we'd go home. And he didn't have to plan that. It was just, hey, I'm going to be in the city. I'm going to come hang. But now that I live over almost an hour away from him, like it's one of those things where if I want to go visit him, I have to like consciously make the effort of, hey, what are we going to do when I come out? Are we just going to wander around? Like, what's the plan? And I think that 3 hours is actually past that sweet spot, because then it becomes a intentionally all day thing. Yeah, exactly. Like whenever I go visit Emma again, it's going to be like hey, we're going to come in, we'll be there by like
it's a weekend trip.
11 o'clock in the morning, noon, and we'll just stay until whenever the fuck. But yeah, so I think that you guys kind of are screwed out of that in that way. But I mean, 3 hours, it's doable. It's harder, obviously, the older we get, but it's definitely something that can still be done, especially since you'll both be still in college. Like that makes it a lot easier too.
It's true.
Even if you're working, like it's still easier.
That is also true, and not not that it's like a detriment, but also like my being single doesn't impede that, because like
no, it helps 100%.
I don't want to say I have no one to answer to, but like I have no one to answer to. Like,
yeah, it's not like
you don't have
not a bad thing. It's just like a statement of fact. You are able to do a lot more stuff that way.
Yeah, if I'm like because like I have a friend who lives in Clarion, one of my good buddies, and he's been he went to school down there. He just graduated, so sick. Big congrats.
Yeah, and
so like that's like a 2-hour drive, and probably like once a month, maybe once every other month or so, every 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. I'll just hit him and be like, hey, you doing anything tomorrow? He's like, yeah, I gotta work, but it's 6. I was like, all right, I'm gonna like drive down and we can just hang out until you get to work tomorrow, and then I'll go back. And we can just do that, and it's fun. It's a good time. But then like he also like laments that, like I am the only one out of our friend group who has ever done that, and like it's been 4 years, and I just like I don't think that is an absurd trip to make. That is a very reasonable thing.
But it's still something that you have to be at least like semi-aware of their schedule to do it. You can't just like be like, I'm in the area, let's hang out for a couple of hours kind of thing.
Yeah, it takes a tiny bit of planning.
The thing is, you can't do the I'm in the area, let's hang out for lunch, and that's it kind of thing. Is really the big one.
I do that once too, though, which those are fun too. Like I have a friend of mine, Noah actually knows her. I'm not gonna name names, but I will put it in the Discord so you know.
I'm not gonna name names, but the name rhymes with.
The name rhymes with. I can't even give you a rhyme because it'd be a good joke, because there is like a name.
There's like a plethora of names that you would never guess, but
it's still not. Yeah, anyway, so that Noah and I both know. Been friends for forever. She's one of my older sister's friends, and at one point in time, I did actually go visit my friend in Clarion, and I was like, just vibing. And Pittsburgh's not that far out of the way, and she lives in Pittsburgh, so I was like, hey, I'm in Clarion like tonight, but tomorrow I'm gonna drive through. I can stop by Pittsburgh if you're not up to anything. We can grab lunch and catch up. And she was like, yeah, that sounds good. So then I did. I went like it's outside of like probably like 10, 20 minutes out of the way. It's really not that far out of the way. And then I just stopped by and was like, hey, what's up? We got lunch, talked, hung out for a couple hours, and then just went home.
That was
a good time.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Hey, I'm a huge fan of just, hey, I am in the area, let us eat food or hang out or whatever. All of my non-online friends are many hours at this point, except for Dave. Dave and Brian are pretty close, but besides
being in the area is pretty sick.
So that sucks. But it is what it is. The other nice thing, I don't know about you guys, but I almost, not every weekend, but most weekends these days, I've been like intentionally making a whole like, hey, I'm gonna hang out on Discord all day. Anyone who wants to stop by is fine. We're just gonna play Jackbox and drink and play whatever game comes around, kind of thing. Kind of almost a party, but obviously not anywhere near the same kind of thing. And just try and keep that social interaction up. It is. It's been a good time.
Yeah. That seems like fun. Nice. This last week last like 2 weeks just about, I played through the entirety of Dark Souls 2 again with my friend Zane.
Oh, that's fun.
Nice. One of my oldest internet friends. I probably talked about this wedding on the podcast, but that was the story in which I told that I was denied access to a bar because I may or may not have instigated. No, I didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything, but you also didn't not do anything.
Yeah, I didn't do anything, but I didn't not do anything. I just didn't. It was a case of classic inaction and jokes gone wrong. But I stand that I did not do anything. The defense holds Jackson as an innocent party. But yeah, so Zane was like one of my longest online friends. Like, I think we met when I was in like 10th grade while playing League of Legends.
Ooh, that is.
And like we just like started playing games, got on like Skype calls together with like some of his friends from West Virginia, and then like I brought in some of my friends from Pennsylvania, and we just like had this like big old group of people who was like, it was one of those Skype calls from back in the day. If you guys were Skype gamers, where like there was. In the summer, anyway. The call at like 24/7, you could hit join call. Like there was always at least one person in there.
It was for me, it was Mumble, but yeah, same deal. Just there's always someone
like
online.
There's like 12, 13 people, and there's always at least one person in the call hanging out. And so you could always just join up and be like, hey, and that was pretty sick. And then after a while, I was just like, yo, Zane, we should hang out like in person. And then I ended up just being, he was like, all right, cool. And I was like 17, had a car, had a license, and I was like, West Virginia's like 5-hour drive, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I drove down to West Virginia, and it ended up like going really well, and, bada bing, bada boom, we have hung out at least once a year for the past like 7 years, usually at least twice. And then I was in his wedding in May. No, in October. It's May now.
How is it May now?
So I was looking at the date because I was like trying to like, I had my calendar app open because earlier I was trying to find out if the 21st of September was going to be on a Thursday when the podcast was released, and it wasn't. And then I just opened my phone again, and the date was out, and so I just May. Anyway, yeah, I was in his wedding in October, and it was a lot of fun.
And now we know.
There you have it, folks.
And unfortunately, it is time to wrap up. We have one more shout out, technically two. Cloud
shout out Pears. I mean, all the Pears. Shout out to all the Pears out there.
Yeah, shout out to Pears. Cloud says she has nothing she wants us to say. She just enjoys the podcast and wanted to let us know that.
Aww.
So thank you, Cloud.
Thanks, Cloud. Roll Tide.
And Emma. Now, Emma does have something she wanted me to say.
Emma always has something she wants to say.
And it is very important.
Sure it is.
Become a patron. This is Emma talking through me, by the way.
It sounds like Noah talking.
Become a patron.
Does it sound like Noah talking to anybody else?
Say again?
Weird.
Does it sound like Noah talking to anyone else?
I know, it's concerningly sounding like Noah talking, doesn't it?
I hear Noah talking. That's the thing.
But
no,
become a patron so you can listen to all the guest episode, all the guest episode. Wow, rude of you, Emma. How dare you
listen to the all guest episode?
Wow,
boo!
I can't read.
Boo.
Listen to the all guest episode that came
it.
out as bonus content with me, Nina, and Edge.
The me in this statement being Emma, not Noah.
The me is Emma.
Great job, Emma. Great comment. I'm really sorry that Noah had to read that.
I am too.
Yeah,
that was rough.
I am also
not
sorry
because
that
it's not
Noah
good.
had to read
it was
that.
great
That was
on your
bad.
part, but unfortunately, botched delivery.
But yeah, for the foreseeable future, we are going to continue giving everyone who is a patron whatsoever access to all of the
bonus content,
all of the bonus episodes, because I mean, why not? We have 2 up there, right? 2 episodes and a video up right now.
Yes,
it's a good time. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
But we don't have a lot until we start actually putting out consistent amounts of like bonus content. We're going to let everyone have access to those. So thank you very much, everyone. This is our way to give back, I guess.
So everyone has access to them?
Everyone who's a patron.
Okay, so like so $1 tier and up?
Yeah, for $1 a month, you get access to all the bonus stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. What do we got on? We got the Monster Prom's on there, right? And then the 2 episodes?
Got Monster Prom, we got the Oops All Guests, and we also have the Bandersnatch episode that Nina and I did way back when.
Yeah.
That's fun.
When are we getting Nina back on the podcast? When are we getting more guests? I'm tired of this stale format.
We literally had a guest
like
we literally had a guest a week and a half ago.
No, that feels like too long.
We actually had 2 guests a week and a half ago.
We did have 2 guests. That really did make up, in my opinion, for having no guests for like
a month or 2.
3 months.
Yeah.
Giblet just came into my room. Giblet, come here.
Giblet's our new special guest.
Also,
Giblet.
Big shout out to Edge and Michael for the just shout out here where we shout them out instead of them having anything to say. What's up, Edge? What's up, Michael? Thanks for being patrons.
Yeah, Edge,
really
Michael. Never give up. Believe in yourself. And drink watermelon Red Bull.
Drink watermelon Red Bull.
Can we be sponsored by them yet?
By watermelon Red Bull?
What do you mean yet? We don't have like...
We don't have any clout. It's a problem. We need to get more clout.
We have clout. We need to be more extreme if we're going to get a Red Bull sponsorship.
Yeah. We're not nearly cool enough to be energy
new
drink.
Podcast idea. We're going to get some high quality mice. We're going to get that new NVIDIA live sound canceling, and we're going to jump out of airplanes and do a podcast on the way down.
That's not. I don't know how long you think it takes for you to hit the ground after you jump
It's
out
a
of an
short
airplane.
podcast. It's the cold open.
I was gonna say that is a short
I feel like
one.
we got to do something to get on Red Bull's radar. You know.
I think that would get us on Red
We have
Bull's
to
radar.
already do that.
No, you're gonna have to shoot me in the arm with a nail gun.
Well, it's gonna be rough, but I guess I have to do it.
It's what has to be done.
It's for the fans.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna like, you know, like the Velcro walls.
Yeah.
We're gonna do one of those, but like make it extreme.
How?
You know, I don't know. I haven't thought about that yet.
Set the room on fire.
I'm just saying words. I'm making word soup out here.
Jackson, where else can we hear you make word soup?
I'm in the kitchen.
All right. Dan, how about you? Do you make word soup anywhere?
Twitch lately. A lot of Twitch. Been twitching on Thursdays, where we've temporarily suspended Divinity because of quarantine reasons.
We have.
And we are kind of doing a little bit more variety stream lately, which has been fun.
Yeah.
No clue what we're going to play this week. Tune in and find out. And then Saturdays.
It's been a fun variety thing.
Cap and I are like 2, maybe 3 weekends away from finishing out this Total War Warhammer campaign that we've been playing for the past like couple months. And I am really excited. I have no idea what we're going to do after, but we've been talking about a couple of different games to try out afterwards.
Very nice.
Who are you playing as?
The Vampirates. Because they're vampires and also are pirates.
Wait, is that Age of Sigmar?
It's like I think technically it's just pre-Age of Sigmar. Like one of the like end game events is the end times. Okay, I think. Yeah. So it's definitely fantasy. It's the Warhammer fantasy. I just don't know if it's actually Age of Sigmar yet. But yeah, that's been a blast. Vampiracy is it's so funny, dude. The pirates are so dumb, and I love them so much.
Nice.
Yeah, we're probably gonna play something else for a couple months after that, and then we're gonna come back to Warhammer, God knows what, and play more of that. So that's my Saturdays.
There we go.
Also,
nice.
Twitter and Instagram, but I'm never on Instagram, and I'm only on Twitter to make fun of Noah.
That's valid.
I would also like to plug the Discord server that I'm probably just gonna make after this, which is my own Discord server for Off the Air with Blackjack and hookers. Good, it's a bit of a reference. No, but I the thing we talked about last week, I talked about last week with XCOM, but I kicked people out. I'm gonna make a server, so I'm gonna put it in the Off the Air Discord. You're welcome to join it. This goes out to all listeners as well as anyone else who feels like the need to share this. I'll make a character review in XCOM. If you die in the XCOM game, you get kicked out of the server for life.
Yeah, I'm here for this.
Can't beat that.
I'm here for it.
So that's Off the Air. Listeners, prepare yourselves for strategy of a lifetime. It'll probably have already been in the Off-the-Air server by the time this comes out. But
yeah, that's.
it'll probably be in the Off-the-Air server in like 20 minutes.
Honestly, this is your reminder to join it before it's too late.
This is your reminder to join the Off-the-Air Discord server
first.
It's been a blast lately.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun, and I totally interact with it all the time.
It's true.
I talk to everyone there
also,
daily. If
you're in the server and you do interact with you do listen to the podcast, because I do know we have a lot of people who are just there for the good time. Let us know. We really, really do appreciate hearing feedback in any form, because it's nice to know if people think that we're doing the right thing or, stuff like that. It's fun to hear what works.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let us know.
Let us
know. Also, you can find me as Bubba Dabad, BUBBA, on pretty much anything that you're looking for me for. Also been streaming on Twitch an awful lot. Variety streams on Thursday with Dan, 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern. All my other streams are 6 p.m. All two. And Tuesday and Saturday playing Dragon Age. We're about a third of the way into Inquisition, maybe a solid quarter. We're not playing that whole game on stream. We're doing a lot of it off stream because there is so many fetch quests that those are boring to watch. So I'm doing a lot of the fetch questy, like just build up your power stuff so I can come in and hit those story missions. Nice and strong. That's about it. Twitter is at the Off the Air. You can find a link to our Discord server there. Join us. Let us know how the podcast is. Interact. Have a good time. We got a lot of good memes there. We got a lot of great people. Come on in. Have fun.